Good afternoon. Welcome to our latest Talking Bullocks podcast. And we're really excited today to have our latest guest onto the Talking Bullocks, Rowan Hendricks, who many of you will probably know as former professional footballer who played, he'll tell us a lot more in a minute, but played in South Africa and in Europe, played for the national team, and now a coach with a lot of coaching experience. So Rowan, welcome to Talking Bullocks.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
And just to start with, how are you doing? And where are you?
I'm in Cape Town. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm in Cape Town, and currently I am not attached to a football club, but I'm still doing things with grassroots football.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're going to ask you a lot more about that soon and about what you've been doing recently. But I think it's always good to go back to the start and go back to where it all started. So obviously people know a lot about your football career and will know about the big teams that you played for. But take us back to where it all started. When did you start playing football and how did you get involved in playing football?
Yeah, so a young boy from Cape Town, in a city called Bishop Lavis. That's where I'm from, in Cape Town. Um, I started playing obviously amateur football in Cape Town for various amateur clubs. And then when I was 14, 15 years old, I was recruited by Neil Tovey, Kevin Johnson, Farouk Abrams, um, Sam Bata. Um, these were some of the coaches that came down to Cape Town, and they recruited players from Cape Town to a very special school in South Africa. That time it was called the Transnet Soccer School of Excellence. And I was 13, 14 years old when they came to Cape Town. But the thing was they could only take three boys to the school at that time. The school was housing 60 boys. Uh, they came to Cape Town, they had trials, and I think that's when my journey really started, seeing that I could make um, a professional football career out of football, and where my talent was scouted. So they came to Cape Town. We were like over 100, 200 kids, just playing matches, and these scouts were there. I was one of the fortunate, one of the three to be chosen to go to the school. And from there on, I schooled at the Transnet Soccer School of Excellence. So it's right now it's the SAFA School of Excellence. I was taken there at the age of 14, 15. And that's basically, if we talk about football, where my football education and soccer development happened. So it
Fantastic.
was
Yeah, sorry, go on, Rowan.
No, so it's in Johannesburg. It was in Gauteng, as they call the province now. I was one of the lucky three from Cape Town to go there, be chosen, and we schooled and we stayed on the premises. It was in Esalen Park in Johannesburg. 60 kids all together, training every day, going to school every day. It was just football and education, basically.
And was there any other players you were with there that maybe went on to be big names as well, and that maybe people have heard of?
Yeah, for sure. Players like obviously Steven Pienaar he schooled with me at the School of Excellence. He went on to play later. After I left the school, I went to Germany, and he came to Ajax Cape Town. Ajax Cape Town had just been formed, and Steven came to Ajax Cape Town, and then from Ajax Cape Town he went to Ajax Amsterdam.
Yes.
That's basically how it happened. Stephen was with me. Dylan Shepherd, former professional football player, was with me there as well. Brett Evans, Dominic Isaacs, the late Lucky Maselesele. He was a footballer that played at Kaizer Chiefs as well. Um, Tsosi Beko, he's actually I think he's the team manager at Kaizer Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken, still.
Mm.
So yeah, there was quite a few players that schooled with me. Brent Carr also was there as well, and we all
Right.
went on to become professional football players.
Great. And then, so was it from there that you moved to Germany? Did you move there straight away?
Yeah. What happened was how I ended up getting the German offer was that someone, Louis, came to my parents' house one day, and he said, "Listen, the Bale is happening." So the very famous Bale tournament, Metropolitan tournament, now the under-19 tournament in Cape Town. And he went to my parents and he said, "Actually, where am I? What's happening with me?" And they said to him, "No, I'm at the School of Excellence in Johannesburg." And he asked, "Would I be coming for holidays to Cape Town?" And my parents said, "Yeah, I'll be coming." And then that's how it happened. I was like 16 years old already, and he said to my parents that they would love me to play for Cape Town Spurs in the Bale.
Yeah.
And when I come down for holidays, would I join the team? And my parents said, "Yeah, they'll speak to me and ask me if it's possible." And I didn't even think twice. I wanted to play in the Bale. I've seen what the Bale does.
Mm.
The players like Quentin Fortune, Benny McCarthy, they've all played in these tournaments and they've gone on to become household names in South Africa and internationally. And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to do it." So I came back to Cape Town on holiday. Ended up playing for Cape Town Spurs in the Bale. We went on to play in the final against Hellenic. Lost on penalties. Great friends of mine, Kenwin Manuel and um, Leonard Kasner, were playing for Hellenic that time. Um, and yeah, it was at the Bale where a German scout saw me, and he said he'd like to give me the opportunity to go for trials in Germany. And yeah, that's actually how I ended up in Germany. I never went from the school. It was actually through playing in the Bale that I was scouted.
Okay. And then how did you find playing in Germany? I mean, obviously you're there at quite a young age, moving from a completely different background and culture in South Africa to the professional game in a sort of probably one of the powerhouse countries of European football. How did you adapt to that? And how did you find the change?
I I think leaving home at the age of 14, 15 years old prepared me to leave South Africa at a young age. It was difficult at the age of 16 to just leave home, leave South Africa, get on the plane for the first time alone, you know. Um, but what I can say is that I was only supposed to be there for 1 week, so it was like a week, 2 weeks trial, and
Yeah.
how it happened was that I went over with a guy by the name of Rudy Abrams. He's uh, he's living in Cape Town, and he was actually the connection that helped me get over there and get in touch with Matthias Eilers, who is the German agent. And at that time he was a lawyer, so he was just like a mediator. And so what happened was I went over, and first day I had my training at Eintracht Frankfurt, and after 2 or 3 days, um, it was like some of the guys that was around me or with me, I think they were a little bit impatient, and
Mm.
they just they knew I had the talent to make it at that time, and I think when Bradley Cornell was at Stuttgart at the time,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I think they rang up Bradley and Eintracht after 2 or 3 days. Eintracht never came back to say like, "Oh, they're gonna sign me or not," and I think it was because they knew that I had to be there for a week or two in Germany before I had to leave, and they wanted to maximize the most out of me to see which clubs would want me, and
Yeah.
then we got a trial at Stuttgart as well, and they took me to Stuttgart after I think it was 3 days. After the third day, I went to Stuttgart, trained with Bradley and Stuttgart. I think Sean Dundee was there as
Yeah.
well still, and trained. I think I had one session with Stuttgart, which was very nice. You 16, 17 years old. You for the first time in a professional setup, coming from the School of Excellence. You're just
Mm.
young, energetic, and you're just doing things like that will obviously amaze people. And after my session, on our way back to Frankfurt, um, the agent got a call from Bayer Leverkusen. So
Okay.
Bayer Leverkusen invited me for trials as well on my way. So from Stuttgart on our way to Germany, we stopped in Leverkusen, had two sessions there with Leverkusen and Frankfurt. Now were worried, like, where am I? I just disappeared, you know. It
Right. Yeah.
was, I think it was day 4, day 5, and on day 5 they found out I was in Leverkusen, and at that time I was rubbing shoulders with Roberto, with Emerson, all these Balak, all these top guys and top players, And I felt at home at Leverkusen. I felt at home at Stuttgart. I just felt at home in the German culture. It was like um, I was made, I was made to play in that environment. And
Mm.
Frankfurt, on the 5th day, Frankfurt called and said that they'd like to make me an offer, and I got a 3-year contract. I didn't go back for trials. They said no, they've seen enough in the first 3 days, but they got word now that Stuttgart wanted to possibly sign me and Leverkusen as well. And yeah, so I ended up signing for Frankfurt, which was the best, I would say, the best feeling ever. Signing at the age of 17 years old, a professional contract, and I reminisce about those days because it's it was something that I think I always wanted to experience, something that no one can take from you. It's very special. Yeah.
And is there any was there any sort of big names at Frankfurt at the time that were playing there again that maybe people have heard of? Frankfurt are obviously quite a well-established, bigger club in the Bundesliga, and a lot of people
Mhm.
know of Frankfurt. Who were the kind of players you were playing with at Frankfurt?
Look, just before I signed, I was watch. Obviously, you get there the first day and you're watching training and you see, like, okay, I know that face, I know that guy. But there was two African players at Eintracht Frankfurt. The one was JJ Okocha,
Mm, yeah,
and the other one was Tony Aboa. So the
Yeboah, yeah,
Ghanaian, yeah, Tony Aboa. So I used to watch them in training, and then I became friends with
amazing,
them as
amazing.
well.
I'll tell you a
And
little story
and
actually. So sorry, go
yeah.
on.
Oh, sorry. And then, yeah, so JJ Okocha's agents, they also now started liking me, and obviously we were spending time together. And I still have a picture where there's me and JJ Okocha having coffee together, and we always joke and we say that I took JJ out for coffee, not he invited me. Yeah, and it was the time when Anthony Aboa left for Leeds.
Yeah,
So the year when I signed, Anthony Aboa just left. He went to Leeds, and I think JJ Okocha went to Bolton, if I'm not mistaken, in England.
yes, yes, he did.
And yeah, he did some amazing things at Frankfurt as well. There were some other German players. Jan Orich Flertov, he's
Yeah, Filter. Yeah.
yeah, the Danish striker. He was there at Frankfurt as well. We
Yeah.
had actually some good fights in training together. Very big man, big guy. So I
Yeah.
laugh now when I see him being a presenter on TV. He's an analyst
Mm.
now as well. But we had a Chinese guy also, very very prominent footballer from China. I think it was Chang, if I'm not mistaken, Chang something. But yeah, there was some big players, some big players.
So this must have been around the mid 90s. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Felix Magath was my coach.
Right.
He's the
Yeah.
one that gave me my debut. Uh, and I think I still have some of the characteristics that he tried to instill in me also. He was a guy that he didn't like you to stop running. He liked you to work
Mm.
hard, especially if you were a young player. And yeah, so Felix Magath was the coach that gave me my debut.
Yeah, and he went on to. I know he had a very successful coaching career, and he won the league with Wolfsburg and coached Bayern, if I remember rightly, as well.
Yeah.
So obviously a big name coach. But I actually remember I actually watched Frankfurt back in the 1994, I think it was, when JJ Kocher and Yeboah were playing in the first team there, and I watched them play
Mm.
Borussia Mönchengladbach. So probably was around, or maybe just before your time over there. But
Yeah, it was
yeah, so
before
some big
before.
names. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, yes. I mean, that must have been some experience. And then take us forward from there. I think you went back to Ajax Cape Town, didn't you? From there.
Yeah, so Ajax Cape Town was formed, I think, 1999, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
It was their first year in the South African Premier League. They had just acquired a partnership with Ajax Amsterdam. So it was Cape Town Spurs and Seven Stars that became Ajax Cape Town. So Rob Moore was there, John Comitas, the Cape Town City owner,
Mm.
and obviously we know Rob Moore is Benny McCarthy's agent. So
Yeah.
they asked if I would like to come back to South Africa. Rob McDonald was the coach at the time at Ajax, and a very, how do I say, very one of the coaches that's very close to my heart. He taught me a lot as well about the Ajax system. Yes, English and the Dutch mixed. But yeah, so I came back to Ajax Cape Town, and actually signed a 2-year contract
Mm.
at Ajax. I was 19 years old. 19, yeah. I was just turning 20 because I spent 3 years in Germany already. And
Yeah.
just after my debut against Arminia Bielefeld, I had to make the decision: do I stay, or because I wanted regular. Now I wanted regular first team football, and
Yeah.
I wanted to not stop developing because the Regionalliga, the amateur, how do you say, setup in Germany. I didn't want to be in the second team and be overseas,
Yeah.
where I could be in South Africa and be in the first team already at the age of 19, 20 years old. And so
Yeah.
that's why I
That had,
came to Ajax Cape Town, because of
yeah.
John Comitas. And yeah, my parents wanted to see me, my family wanted to see me play, how I developed as a footballer. And yeah, at Ajax, I think I excelled a lot at Ajax because of what I learned in Germany, the discipline, my technique was very good, because that's what we worked on so much in Germany. Tactically, I was very smart, so I just fitted into the Ajax system as a right winger, and the coach
Mm.
loved me. Today we still have a very good relationship. We chat whenever we can, and yeah. So after 2 years in at Ajax Cape Town, I decided after the first season, I decided, like, I was bored. I didn't want to be stuck in an environment where I was just being normal. I wanted more. I had tasted European football now, and I wanted more. And the opportunity came for me to go to Russia, and Viktor Bondarenko got in contact with my agent at the time and said, like, look, there's a club in Russia that's looking for a right winger. Would I be interested? And yeah, I had to speak to John Comitas. It wasn't a nice talk. I mean, I just signed 2 years, and year after the first year, I want to leave. But
Yeah.
when you're in South Africa, and we weren't getting paid that much back in the day, like the guys are
Yeah.
getting paid now. And you think about, yeah, you're 20, 21 years old, you think about your family, you think about your siblings, you want to give them a better life as well, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, I then decided after the first season, you if I can say this, you play against the Kaizer Chiefs, the Sundowns, the Pirates, these guys, and you score goals against them. You do well.
Mm.
Um, I know that Pirates wanted to sign me, um, but for me, I didn't want to be in South Africa. I wanted to test myself in Europe again, and that's when I ended up going to Russia for another 3 years.
And what was Russia like to play? Well, both as an experience living in Russia and from a football perspective.
I think Germany was much better. Obviously, the infrastructure,
Yeah,
the lifestyle was more free. Um, it was more socially good for me. I think in Russia, the what what was good was that they treated us as if we were just like the best. We were like the superstars, you know. They loved African players. When I see now all the racism that they are talking about and all this, we never experienced that.
yeah,
I was there with Matthew Booth. I was there with Benedict Ngune. I was there with Japheth Zwane. I was there with Isa Kayenda. We were 4, 5, 6 players in one team, African players, and we
mm.
didn't
Well,
experience, not once did we experience racism there. You know,
yeah,
um, it was a tough time because the Russian league is it starts the end of March, and the first round will finish around about November because of the snow. So it
yeah,
wasn't that hectic in Germany, but the snow was really a different experience for me, having to play in it and having to adapt to the different um, ways of training, I would say. So I think in Russia they wanted more an athlete, not just a footballer. You had to work hard, you had to run hard, you had to fight. It was always a fight. But
mm.
whereas in Germany, it was more tactical, it was more technical, and if you couldn't fight, if you couldn't run, you wouldn't last in Russia. So it was more power, speed. That was Russian football was like that. But other than that, the people loved us. You could walk freely. You sometimes you will be in a restaurant, and your bills will be paid by guys that just like you, or they've seen you play, and they recognize you. And when the bill comes, and they're like, no, someone else paid it. Sometimes you're in a
Yeah,
shop, and you get told, no, you're not paying. Um,
mm.
yeah, some dodgy characters there as well that I don't think I will mention now.
Heard
But yeah,
that.
yeah, some guys you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, look, I mean, you've talked to us about your experiences of Europe and how it seems like even though there's a lot of it, a lot of adaptation to make, um, but you made it sound like it was a great step to take. It was a great experience. You were able to adapt to it. Why are there not more players now, 20, 25 years later? Why are there not more players from South Africa playing in Europe, in your opinion?
I think they've become comfortable. I think they've become comfortable. It's not that the talent isn't there. I think we dreamt of playing in Europe. We dreamt of going overseas. We dreamt of playing in the national team. You know, those things never came easy. I mean, I only became a youth national team player once I went overseas. I think had I been in South Africa, there's no way I would have been in the national team in the youth
Mm,
setup.
yeah,
Um, I excelled in youth football in South Africa. Yes, then I became a national team player, um, but only because I went overseas. I only became um, a guy that will be called up to national team camps only when I was in overseas. Right now, the boys know, and they feel like if they are not seen, they won't get these opportunities. So they are so reluctant to take that leap of faith, to leave South Africa because they are made comfortable here. And I think that is one of the big problems that we might have, that our national teams and don't excel to the extent where we think we know we can be, because young, like you asked the question, young players, um, if you ask a young player now, um, will you leave home? Now he will first look at, I'm at Kaiser Chiefs, I'm at Sundowns. Why would I want to leave? You know,
Yeah.
back in the day, for us it wasn't about that. For me, it wasn't about that. It was about, can I go and test myself in different leagues? You know, and I think they have become comfortable in South Africa, and I think they the it's not that they don't trust themselves. I think just they are really, there's some great talents that we don't see leave because of that the money factor, you know, the sponsor factor, the
Mm.
the I'm driving this and that car. I said it the other day, even on my social media. You know, um, you can't just be thinking about a nice car, clothes, Instagram, all these things, but you don't think about your future. You know,
Yeah.
what do you want as a football player? Not just what does the agent want, but what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, we're going back to your journey. What happened after Russia? What came next?
Yeah. So after Russia, after playing in Russia, there was 2 seasons in Russia. After 2 seasons, I came on holiday back to Cape Town, and then Geo Gardens from Sweden, they wanted to sign me as well, and I think what happened there was that the Russians asked too much money because I had another year left in my contract,
Mm.
and they wanted me immediately. They wanted a free agent, and my agent at the time, Mike McCobb, said, "Listen, have a look at him," and they were happy with me. I had signed, taken pictures already, and I thought I was going to Sweden because in Russia it was becoming more like now the African players were becoming a problem in the team. You know,
Yeah.
they wanted more Russians to play in the team, and I just felt like I was being isolated, and I wanted to leave, and it never materialized. I think they took Lance Davids then, because when I saw what Russia was asking for, I knew they wouldn't. The Djurgårdens wouldn't pay that because they wanted a free agent.
Yeah.
I went back to Russia my last season, played uh, played in the Russian Super Cup final also against Spartak Moscow. And then after that, after 3 years, I decided to come back to South Africa. And Coach Pizzo Mushimani was at Supersport United. He signed me then on a 2-year deal. And I was at Supersport United. And things didn't work out at Supersport. And the reason I say it is because Teko Modise was the up and coming youngster in South Africa, and
Right.
no one really knew about this guy. But Coach Pizzo sat me down one day, and he said, "I'm going to sign a player that nobody has seen yet, but he's going to take your position. You'll have to fight for your position, but this boy is going to play." And a young Teko came to training one day, and yeah, within the first week, we could see that Teko was special. You know,
Yeah.
I had just come from Russia, and I thought I was good enough to compete with him. You know, at Supersport that time we had Dane Clayton on the left hand side, I was on the right. But when
Mm.
Teko came, it was like, yeah, the guy was just phenomenal. He was so good. And I then left Supersport. I went to play in the NFD for a team called FC because they were like one of the teams in the NFD first division in South Africa that were looking to get promoted to the PSL. So
Yeah.
they acquired a lot of professional players from the PSL to come and play there. We had players like Eddie Dinya, Elasto Capoeiro. Um, just that's some of the names that I can mention that I still remember that played with me there. And we actually got to the promotional playoffs. We lost to Amazulu in a two-legged match. We lost in Johannesburg and in Durban as well, and then Amazulu got promoted from the NFD to the PSL. So yeah, that was me coming back to South Africa. I think now I was 27, 26, 27 already,
Yeah.
and I came to play for another NFD team At that time, FC Cup, not FC Cup started, it was Icapa Sporting, Icapa
Mm.
Sporting in the
Yeah.
NFD. And Sergio dos Santos was the coach at that time. Played in the NFD, and then as I was, and I still remembered Coach Pizzo's words to me. He said, like, when you're playing football, you start from the amateur ranks, you go semi-pro, pro. But he said to me, Rowan, don't stop playing. Go into coaching.
Yeah.
Start learning what coaching is about. And he was actually the one that planted the seed in my head
Okay.
about one day becoming a football coach.
Yeah.
And he's the one also that directed me also a little bit. And he said, no, go from PSL to NFT to ABC. And then once you are done there, then you have gone the full cycle
Mm.
of football. So I'm very grateful for him for that advice as well. And it helped me as well because tapering down in my professional career also gave me the time to do my coaching badges, and also gave me a chance to coach, not being so much under pressure, having to earn a salary, and knowing that okay, now I can go into coaching because I have something to fall back on.
Brilliant. And then, so just quickly take us through where your coaching career has taken you so far. Yeah, where did it start, and then where's it taken you over the last few years?
Yeah, so if I can quickly go through it, it
Yeah.
started at Batsuit had an ABC team, and the late Reggie Yankees. I was playing under him, and then when he left, uh, I was just asked, "Can I take the team?" Because I had all this experience now, and I think that's when the coaching bug bit.
Mm.
Now being a player coach, and yeah, now you just played with these players. Now you have to coach them. Sometimes it might come across as bias, but that's when it really started. I started at Batsuit coaching, and then I went to live in Bloemfontein in South
Yeah.
Africa, and that's where I met my wife as well. I coached at an ABC team called Babshi United in Bloemfontein. From there, I stayed in Bloemfontein, but I then started coaching at the University of the Free State through a very good friend of mine, Godfrey Tenoff. One day we played a friendly match, and Godfrey saw me, and he recruited me to come to the university. So started coaching at the university in the SAB, and obviously now at USA with him. And in that time, I was doing my coaching license, or my coaching badges, as you call it. And then the University of Cape Town recruited me from the Free State, and they asked me if I can be the head coach in the Varsity Cup. So I came back to Cape Town um, with my fiance now. So
Mm.
my wife, she and I, we moved to Cape Town, coached at the University of Cape Town um, in the Varsity Cup. Then coached ASD, the former club. Right now, a lot of people say it's Ubuntu, but it's not really Ubuntu. Although we
Okay.
know Davis there from ASD.
Yeah.
Coached at ASD in the ABC, and yeah, then just went on coached at FC Cape Town with Coach Johnny Ferreira.
Yeah.
Built up the under 17 the teams, coached at the ABC level, and then Coach Johnny said, "Listen, why not take Rowan as as his assistant?" So that was my first taste of NFD football through Johnny Ferreira, and we've gone on to work at Polokwane City. We've worked at Venda Football Academy in Limpopo together, and
Mm.
a very very dear father figure in my life, and mentor as well. Because yeah, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have gotten a break into professional football coaching
Yeah.
at that age. I coached at Ajax Cape Town as well. After FC Cape Town was sold, I was the head coach under 16. I was in the youth systems and coaching under 12, under 14. um, taking teams to the engine tournament, winning. I think I won with the under 14s. I won the FC Cupstar tournament. The last trophy, let's say, of youth football that Ajax Cape Town won. So yeah, there, and then obviously I went with Johnny to Polokwane City in the NFD. They asked us to come and help. They were at the bottom, almost getting relegated, and Johnny and I saved the team from relegation. After that, we went to Venda Football Academy. I had a great first season, and it was their first time in the NFD ABC team. We ended fifth, but I still feel we could have pushed for the promotional playoff for
Mm.
position three at that time,
Yeah.
under different circumstances. And then yeah, after Venda Football Academy, um, Coach Johnny left. I stayed as head of youth at the club, and then but it wasn't long until I was roped in again as assistant coach, to help in the first team, with physical conditioning, with the tactics, with the video analyzing. So I did quite a lot at Venda Football Academy, and then yeah, after that I came back to Cape Town.
Sure. And so look, you've got it. You hold a cafe license. You've obviously got a playing background at the highest level, both in South Africa and in Europe, which we've spoken about before. Not many players in South Africa, not many coaches have had that opportunity. You've clearly got a lot of coaching pedigree from what you've done at both senior level and youth level. It's at a high level. What do you feel, from your experience, are some of the barriers for coaches like yourself in South Africa to be coaching consistently and for a long time at the highest level?
I think if I look at opportunities that are given to coaches in South Africa, I don't think we are trusted that much. You know, um,
Mm.
I was there when the African Cup of Nations was won by South Africa in 1996. I was a ball boy on the pitch, so I've
All
seen the
right.
Neil Tovies,
Mm.
I've seen the Neil Tovies, the Lucas Hadebes. I've seen them face to face. I've seen the Helman and Keleles. Them, I was a young boy. Um, I I saw Mark Williams them right in front of me. I used to sit in these guys' bedrooms, when Bafana were preparing for to win AFCON, you know. And I look back, I always look back at that and I ask myself the question, how come these guys are not coaching? How come these
Mm.
guys are not even in the SAFA structures, proper structures, doing youth development and also coaching even at the high levels? Um, and then I look at myself, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because if you look at it, it's you need luck. You really
Mm.
need someone to say, listen, I'm going to take a chance on this person. You know, you you if it didn't happen for the 1996 professional football players that won AFCON, you know.
Yeah.
How easy is it going to happen for people like myself who
Mm.
has a CAF A license since 2015 already, and you're
Yeah.
sitting with all this knowledge and experience, and you're asking yourself, when is the luck going to favor you? It's
Mm.
very difficult. I will say it's very difficult in South Africa to get into the professional coaching setup because it's about who you know, and if we are honest, it's about who you know and who really wants to give you that opportunity and chance, to
Yeah.
coach. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. And just finally, what does the present and the future look like for Rowan Hendricks?
I think the right now I'm just busy with grassroots football at a school in Cape Town, and just enjoying myself with coaching kids and keeping myself in touch with development. I did it at a young age where I said to myself, I I don't want to set boundaries, but I want to set goals. I think it's more important to set goals than saying, listen, this is where I want to be, and I become comfortable. So right now, busy with grassroots football. Um, would love to start up my own football development, but I still feel that I need to be out there coaching, and yeah, I'm waiting for the call that will come, so that I can get back into professional coaching. But for me, I think it's the dream is not over of coaching again. You know, every day I wake up and I also understand that, like I said, now it's about finding favor with someone, finding favor with people, and also understanding that you need luck. You need someone to really buy into your philosophy,
Yeah.
your character as a coach. But I'd love to get back into professional coaching, whether in South Africa or overseas. Um, it's not important to me to just be in South Africa, but right now, I think grassroots football, giving back, just having fun,
Mm.
with the kids, seeing that smile on their face, seeing them develop, and yeah, you never know what the future holds.
Yeah, and before we let you go, Rowan, we're obviously talking to you today on Talking Bullocks, and we're trying to promote Talking Bullocks, but we also want people to be able to tap into your expertise and your knowledge and listen to you. We can see in your background that we've got the RH7 soccer show there, so maybe just give that a little bit of a plug as well before we leave. So, what's that all
Oh yeah,
about?
oh yeah. So in 2018, I started the RS7 Soccer Show. It's a show where I want to give a platform to young players, and also athletes and footballers, just to express their voice. I have a show. I have many podcasts, but the one is, your story has a voice, and I want to give voice to many people's stories, on the show. So yeah, I do a lot of updates, soccer updates, interviews, on the podcast as well. But it's something that it's become a little bit of a passion for me. I love doing it. I love sharing motivation. It's about obviously inspiring the youth out there, and inspiring people that you can do anything that you put your mind to. And the show has grown. I love that I'm able to do it differently to just other shows. So for me, it's very important that I be an inspiration and a motivation to people out there. It's possible. It's possible to do these things, and yeah, I'd love to see it grow to where it's on television. You know.
Mm. Brilliant. Well, we hope all of our listeners and viewers will tune in there to rh7soccershow.co.za. So we hope people will join and listen to that. But otherwise, thank you so much, Rowan, for joining Talking Bullocks today. It's been really good listening to your story, your experiences, and your thoughts on South African football as well. We obviously wish you very well for the future, and we're looking forward to seeing what you get up to next.
Thanks. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers,
Thanks for
Rowan.
having
We'll
me.
speak soon.
Yes.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Cheers.